Hey, what's up, guys? This is rayBar checking in with another market update. This video should be fairly quick. I'm actually out on vacation, just kind of a staycation, really, hanging out at the folks' place. So if you guys are here, go ahead and lightly tap that like button, comment down below the stocks that you're buying and what stocks you're looking out for this week, and subscribe if you already haven't. So let's get into it. As you've seen, the last 3 months, the portfolio has kind of been on a tear, up about 10%, 4.5% in the last month, slightly down in a week. Today we're up about $35, a little bit less than 1%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is one of the key indexes, rose this morning, headed for the longest streak since February of, I think it was like 2017. It's kicking off a very busy earnings week. We have several stocks reporting this week. Last week we had Tesla, which slightly disappointed, and so you saw it pull back considerably from almost $300 down to around the 260s. I did a put credit spread on that account, or on this stock right before earnings, as typically what ends up happening if you've followed Tesla is that they'll tank after earnings and slightly recover, which we've seen today. They're up about $7. Repeating that strategy, but I am doing it with Meta for this week. I opened up this put credit spread last week. I probably should have went a little bit lower. I think Meta reports earnings on, I want to say it's like Thursday. So I'm going to manage this position and hopefully try and close it out once it gets into the profit range. I'm hoping it'll dip to around $30 for a price, and then I'll end up buying it back, making about $20 in about 4 or 5 days. So overall, energy stocks ended up leading, I would say, so far, with Chevron and Exxon kind of going up. I would say keep an eye on commodities, as we kind of continue into this whole Ukraine-Russia thing. It's causing a lot of volatility in the energy space, I think. So you're seeing kind of, a lot of the oil producers, Exxon, Chevron, Shell, etc., kind of, gaining off of that high volatility. There's a report out that a commodity trading firm has an average salary per employee of like $800,000 or something like that due to commodities trading. So I think that that's just kind of another key indicator. One thing to look out for this week is Wednesday, the 26th. We will have the Fed decision, which, most people are thinking that they're going to go up about 25 basis points because they ended up pausing on June 14th. And, now I guess they're going to go another 25, which didn't make sense to me. But I think what you end up seeing is kind of stocks push a little bit lower when that happens, especially, like I said, last week, if you saw Netflix and Tesla reported earnings and the market kind of dipped, and both of those stocks ended up dipping. And we're kind of heading into, again, more and more earnings, which I alluded to in a previous video, that I think that we're set up for a disappointing earnings season where, we'll see some stocks pull back, especially out of like the large, mainstay stocks: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla, Nvidia, etc. Right? Like these stocks right here, I'm thinking that you'll end up seeing a pullback here as people start to diversify. Because if you look at the portfolio here, Apple and Microsoft are up slightly, but look at the stocks kind of like Main Street Capital, JP Morgan Chase, Archer Daniels Midland right here, the food company, Aflac. These other kind of smaller stocks are starting to push higher, and I think what you're seeing there is a reallocation from those super majors or old FANG stocks into a little bit more of a safety net as we kind of penned the Fed's decision, right? I think Wall Street is anticipating earnings results from 150 of the S&P 500 companies, so about 30% of the index that makes up the weight of VOO. Big tech earnings, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, and several of the big pharmaceutical companies are going to be reporting this week. And I think it's also going to be a big week again for the energy, oil traders, and industrial companies, right? One thing also to kind of look out for is, FedEx and UPS. Right now UPS is kind of going through that whole, I guess, earnings or not earnings dispute, but that whole labor dispute about, I guess, it's part-time workers. It sounds like to me that's affecting it. You know, we could probably scroll down here and see Team Masters restart contract talks Tuesday. Billions are at stake. So basically, you know, I think that what's ended up happening here is, you know, as we see the increased pressures of inflation and cost of living, you're starting to see a lot of these labor unions kind of rise up and kind of, you know, fight for more money. Those that have representation, like in the UPS case, I think that they end up having a slight advantage over the average worker, which, in my opinion, ends up needing to leave their job in order to, you know, kind of make more money. The thing about UPS and FedEx is they're a huge indicator into like kind of the, I guess, future of the economy and the leading into the economy, because, you know, if people aren't buying stuff online and shipping it to their house, you know, that to me, that's a key indicator that things are going to, you know, kind of slightly slow down. One thing to look out for, you know, I think coming soon is going to be Apple's earnings. They report on early August. You know, a lot of Wall Street raised expectations for Apple that could go higher next year and run companies' earnings, right? And one of the quotes from a analyst that watches the stock says, while we believe some of these upside potentials are already priced in, we note that the multiple expansion seen by Apple in the last 3 months is consistent with other big tech names, right? So that just means to me that even though, you know, Apple has kind of been on an absolute terror this year, right? Up 25%, up, you know, 17% in 3 months, that there's still room to grow, because multiple expansion is, you know, basically their price to equity ratio, meaning that, you know, they're outpacing, I guess, their earnings. But, you know, just like Tesla, whenever we had talked about it not too long ago, I think sometimes valuation goes out the window as investors kind of pile into different stock names due to FOMO, right? Last thing I'm going to talk about here, again, it goes into inflation and the Federal Reserve's decision coming this Wednesday. Basically, you know, Federal Reserve officials are likely going to need, I guess, more evidence that inflation is actually coming down. You hear Powell speak in his comments. And again, headline inflation is coming down, but core inflation is not. And we're nowhere near their target, in my opinion, even hovering at like the high 3s or even low 4% range, right? Basically, you know, the decline in the inflation rate could just be temporary, right? If you look at what happened in the 1970s, 1980s, mind you, that it is a lot different than what's happening now, coming out of, you know, post-COVID era policies and spending. You know, there was an initial spike, a secondary spike, and then it went even higher on the third time around. So I think that right now we're seeing kind of that summer cool down, people thinking, oh, the Fed's going to reverse course, things are going to change for us. But then in all actuality, what we'll end up seeing is, you know, inflation kind of return back to that 4.5% range, right? Mark this video, you know, July 24th. You can go back and mock me if I'm incorrect, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go back, kind of hang out, enjoy time with the family. If you guys are still here at this part of the video, comment family down in the comment section. Be sure that you are spending time with your family and your friends, enjoying relationships, because, you know, sometimes we're kind of pushed into a box where we need to end up working, and before you know it, life ends up passing us by. I always say it to my friends and family: never get caught up in the momentum of your life. Be sure to enjoy the things, you know, put the sun on the face, enjoy the things that you do. And yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys have a wonderful week, successful week of trading. I will see you guys back on Friday with another portfolio update. Hopefully I'll be able to manage out of this position, and we'll see. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Checking out.